Psychodrama is a way of practicing living without being punished for making mistakes. It's considered a theater of mercy, where people are forgiven for playing out aspects of their lives in the present, past, or in the future, and all scenes take place in the present, in the here and now. Moreno used to call psychodrama an exploration of truth through dramatic method. He called it a scientific exploration of truth because he respected Freud very much for his scientist aspect, and Moreno liked to put science in the mix. He wanted very much to look at Marxism, religion, philosophy, anthropology, psychology, all in kind of one mix, because he felt that one by itself didn't quite complete the picture. Like Freud, Moreno was very concerned with healing society. The difference is that Moreno felt that the greatest illness in society is compulsive conformity. That is, we try to all be like each other, which is a really kind of phase of people's development. You know, when teenagers put a skull and a crossbone on their door and they say no entry and blah, blah, blah. And most kids do that, and most kids want to dress like the other kids and wear the same clothes and makeup and blah, blah, talk the same cool language and stuff. And Moreno said, well, if we are our spontaneous selves, from the word sua sponte, from within ourselves, we can free ourselves from webs of stuck thought and stuck emotion. And so creativity and spontaneity are the cornerstones of the method of psychodrama. He said once to Freud, I start where you leave off. I see people in the streets and in their homes. You analyze people's dreams. I give them the courage to dream again, which is the title of Jacob Moreno, who was my trainer, as well as Moreno's autobiography, which has just recently come out, which is called To Dream Again. And it's about her life, surviving an arm amputation because of cancer, and surviving coming from the war in Holland to America. And she always says, you know, she had a psychotic sister coming on the boat. She always says, if you look after another person and genuinely care for another person, you'll always find what you need. And so when she came to America with her psychotic sister chained to the boat, she had to seek out a psychiatrist for her sister, and she walked in the room and Moreno went, ah, to her. And then they had a kind of crucial career where she interpreted his work after being a kind of trained double. She understood his work. He told her once, don't get a PhD for yourself because it might spoil your spontaneity. Stay as you are. Though he encouraged a lot of people to become doctors and psychiatrists and PhDs to improve the acceptance of psychodrama throughout the world. My personal take on it is, you know, I love the humor of life, I suppose, and I think sometimes, why does therapy have to be so terribly serious when in life we make fools of ourselves and we pick ourselves up? It isn't the sort of what happens to us, but it's the getting up again. And when we get up again and when we fall, some of us fall from a great height and we think about our omnipotence, and then we're just a fool like everybody else, and then we maybe are, you know, as bad as the worst, but by God, sometimes we're as good as the best. And in that way, we're quite ordinary. And one of the ways I think that we're very ordinary is that we each think our issue is the most serious. We're the craziest, we're the sickest, we're the most complicated, and so on. But simplicity is complicated, and I think we search in our lives for a simple way of living. I certainly do. But it's complicated to hone it down to something that's quite brief, expresses what we want to express, allows us to feel what we're feeling, and be brief enough to get our point across. Now, why group psychotherapy? Well, Moreno felt it was very important for us to do sociometry with the group, to measure group interaction, to see who sits with whom, who likes whom on what criterion, who rejects whom on what criterion, who would you most like to spend an extra half hour with telling your utmost secrets is a very different choice than who do you choose to cook with. And then we were asked to list reasons why we didn't choose so-and-so to cook with, because they're messy, blah, blah. Why don't we choose so-and-so to say our secrets because he's a gossip or she's whatever. Same way in choosing a director. In training in psychodrama, we had to understand our sociometric status in the group, why we were chosen to direct or why we were rejected to direct, so that we looked as much as at our own behavior and our effect on people in the group as, you know, raising ourselves to the place where we're looking at somebody else and pathologizing somebody else. Well, we're all human beings, and we happen to have roles that might be doctor, nurse, teacher, musician, therapist, whatever, but we all are children of the Holocaust in a way. We're children of disaster, we're children of crisis, and our passage here has been paid for. Our journey to come to this moment in time has been paid for by our ancestors. There's a wonderful black poet, Maya Angelou, who talks about we came from a nightmare hoping for a dream. And certainly the passage of black people from Africa to wherever they go is true, but those of us who have come from small little villages in Europe or Russia or whatever, our ancestors have been often troubled by poverty, by sickness, by illness, and so on. And we accept, maybe not knowingly, something that is called subliminal family hypnosis. That is to say, under the threshold of our knowing, we accept values and ideas from our family that we say we'll never do. And then all of a sudden you raise your child and out of your mouth comes exactly the statement that your mom used to make or your dad used to make, and you think, where does that come from? So it's very important, like Ashkenazi or any fine violinist, that we have to hone our strings and tune our bow and tune our strings, so that as therapists we don't do our psychodrama or our therapy on the patient. We really come from a place of not knowing. I think it's a very important place to be the naive child, the naive inquirer, the empty place where we don't know, and we simply ask, well, what did it feel like to hear something like that? Or what are you thinking now about you and me, or something like that?